Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression.
Maryam Henein,
an investigative journalist.
We're here asking people about the coronavirus and what they think.
I'm here in the Sinai Desert. Come with me as I investigate.
What does all your other work have to do with Google?
In 2018, we were getting 500,000 unique visitors, and we suddenly saw the traffic go down. I wonder if Google has any links to Big Pharma.
Thank you so much for this, Mary, especially this film, Vanishing in the Beans.
Do they know something we don't about GMOs?
There's a confusion and blaming just Monsanto when it's really we need to look at Bayer and Syngenta.
These poisons aren't just killing bees, they're also killing beings.
I'm saying that this is the virus that didn't cry wolf. Are you afraid of coronavirus?
No.
Graphene oxide, that's what got me killed on Twitter. Banned from Amazon, Instacart, Airbnb, Chase's bank account.
She gets really deep into stories, those where everyone is willing to go.
Maryam, you have been hot on the trail of Charles Lieber since this case became public.
I'm not a prostitute or a parrot.
Do not let them turn you into lab rats.
Hi everyone, I am Maryam Henein, aka the Bee Lady, and we have an exciting show on Truth Lives Here today. We have Jeff Berwick in the house. Yesterday was my B-Day. I turned 53 years young. And so as a birthday gift, if you would like to like and share, your share does make a difference. As Cheese Slice said, someone should make a documentary on the vanishing of the bee lady. And when you are abundant and have a lot of offerings and are not compromised, well, you know, it's one thing in this economy that's choking you out. It's different when you're infiltrated by Procter and Gamble, and then you find out your publisher is very arguably a Fed. So as Jason Goodman told me once, I had surrounded myself with social engineers. And I think every single day people see just how fake and gay it all is. So before I bring Jeff on the show, Jeff, I'm going to bring up a couple of things, and I want to deep dive. I'm really excited to hear about your Ibogaine journey and Egypt. You may know that I directed a documentary on the Ark of the Covenant. I'm Egyptian Greek. I had the privilege of having the Great Pyramid all to myself. Unfortunately, the Ark of the Covenant, I think, got picked up by Warner Brothers. I definitely did not get residuals. And the director, Bruce Burgess, who had a company called Bluebeam, has arguably been poisoned before Project Bluebeam is brought out to the public. So I can't share with him my latest downloads on past lives and such. Also, what else did I want to bring up? That I did 5-MAO, which is the strongest form of DMT, around the same time that Jeff was doing the Ibogaine and had a lot of downloads from that trip. The theory that I want to present to the audience and to Jeff, we don't have to get into it right away, is I think people would agree that there's more demonic forces, whether CERN has anything to do with it or not, and that it is very important to embody and be present, and therefore not, in my opinion, drink or what you expose yourself to. So my theory is this: when the ventilators came out, first of all, they were hella creepy. I looked into how they were instituted, who put them into place. It was the WHO. And initially, believe it or not, it was during the fomite phase, if you recall, and it was to protect the first responders. However, these protocols were implemented, I know, in Europe, definitely in America, and many people think that their loved ones died of COVID when they really died with a 2-1 punch of remdesivir and a ventilator, including my uncle. Now, having remembered past lives and knowing that whatever, if you die in a traumatic way and you don't have peace, you will come back with that trauma. Now, if you die on a miasma of swirling sedatives and you don't know what the fuck is going on, chances are lots of spirits are in the bardo. And my theory is that's one of the reasons why there's more demonic presence, because a lot of confused discarnate souls they want to glom on via whether you're doing fentanyl or drinking. And certainly as a non-drinker, if I happen to be in a public area, which is not as common anymore, that you will see these demons. And when I look at, I almost got arrested on the Bright Line for violating an anti-foul language policy, even though I didn't say FU to anyone directly. I was on the phone, and also got assaulted by a drunk club owner, and both times were on the full moon. So there is something to say about lunacy. So I mean, that's my theory. We can talk about it at some point, but I really want to hear about your journey. Jeff, welcome back to the show. Oh, and I also want to know what exactly happened that you got thrown into YouTube jail. Was it just for posting our interview together? Was it the coffee enemas or me or all of it?
Well, you said a lot there, Maryam.
I know.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
Yeah, I just passed my 55th birthday. It's amazing how the flies, isn't it?
When's your birthday?
November. I actually did a boga on my birthday, my 55th birthday, right outside the pyramid. So that was pretty incredible.
Wow. 55 also, when I see 555, it's change, that sequence. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't actually going to do it because I should mention it was a boga, not ibogaine. I'm not an expert, but I believe the ibogaine, they take out some stuff and it's mostly for addictions or whatever. But a boga is like, I did the full plant. I really didn't know what to expect too much with it, but it was so different than my first time.
You've done it before.
Yeah. So I did it about almost 10 years ago. I didn't actually know when I did it because time it just flies so much and doesn't even really exist. And I've lost complete track of all of it at this point. I'm basically just outside of most of the matrix at this point.
Yeah.
And Christoph Melchizedek said to me, I had been working with him and he's been so incredible with doing energy work and stuff with myself and even my family and stuff. And he said about 6 months ago, he said, hey, we're doing this trip in Egypt. Do you want to come? And I said, yeah, that sounds amazing. I want to bring my wife and my daughter. And we did that. And he said, we're going to do.
Time in Egypt?
I'd been there before, but drunk and don't remember any of it. Yeah. So that was my whole other. I have many decades that I don't remember a lot. So I went there and I looked at the pyramids and I went, yeah, whatever. Where's the party at? And there was no party, so I left. That was basically Egypt for me in the past. But Christoph said that he's going to do an aboga ceremony the week before this Egypt trip in Egypt, right across the street from the pyramids. And he said, do you want to do it? And I was like, no, no way, no chance. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was like, because I was such a wreck at the time, I actually showed up to the Boga clinic in Tepozatlan in Mexico, just south of Mexico City, drinking a glass of wine, telling them I needed to fix myself. Like I needed whatever was the hardest core thing. I couldn't fix myself, so I needed it. So I was actually drinking wine right before I did a Boga. That's how bad I was.
Was that 10 years before, like you were 45?
Yeah, so the interesting thing was I didn't remember when it was, and I thought I should see when it was, and I couldn't find, like, all my videos been deleted everywhere. Everything about me has been deleted or censored. You can't look me up anywhere or anything. But I actually went on AI, and AI seems to know everything. And I said, AI, when did Jeff Berwick do a Boga? And it told me. It said that it was September of 2016. So almost exactly 10 years from the point that I did it again. And it was so incredible to me because the first time I did it, it was the hardest thing I've ever done, because I actually, all this stuff that we're talking about now, like past lives or, all these sort of things, spiritual stuff, I didn't know anything about it at all back then. I was completely in the matrix. I was just, doing what I was programmed to do, going around drinking, having sex, all this kind of stuff. But it kicked the crap out of me, which it had to, because that's how bad I was. I was completely lost in this matrix, and it beat me up so bad that I said I would never ever do it again. So it was so funny to me to realize that almost exactly 10 years later, I was doing it again outside the pyramids in a very spiritual sort of environment. And when here's another interesting thing. So Christoph said, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "No, I'll never do that again. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. I'll never even consider doing it again." And I thought I'd kind of like, he kept bringing it up, so I thought I'd kind of like play along with him a bit and like ask a few questions and then say no again. So I said, what days? I was kind of hoping like it would be a day I can't do or something. And he goes, "Well, there's 2 days. There's the birthday and the death day, 2 days in a row." And he said the birthday is on November 24th, or sorry, the death day. The death day is on, because you die first, then you go to your.
So the death day was on your birthday?
It was on my birthday. Yeah, wow. He said November 24th. And as soon as he said that, like my whole universe kind of like exploded. Like I was like, whoa, this is a total sign from the universe, obviously. So I actually went and did it again. And this experience was completely different. It was way easier, because I've actually been, since the last Iboga, which I actually realized since then, because I didn't realize until just this year, that all the things I've been doing for the last 10 years, including meditating for like 3 to 5 hours a day at some point, and actually almost being in a meditative state all the time now, started off with the Iboga, which I didn't realize, because I'd hear the word Iboga and I'd go, oh, just like,
I was actually going to ask you if the first Iboga is what kind of triggered this new path. And also, just before you continue, I think in a lot of people's lives, there's like a coming back of things, a release, a revisiting and a release. It's a sign of the times, because now I'm not paying attention to politics. I'm looking at celestial energies and tapping into kind of the Akashic field since my Kundalini. So that would make sense. Also 55. And also you said, when were you in Egypt last?
Probably about 7 years ago.
Okay. So anyway, go on.
Yeah, so he's doing it on my birthday, and as soon as I told him that, he goes, "Oh, that's a great day to die." And I was just like, "Okay, and it was my 55th birthday, and it's in Egypt." So I just, like with most things, when I see the signs and symbols, it's clear. Obviously, most people actually don't see them. They'll see them and they'll just go, "That was crazy," and then they'll just ignore it. But I actually pay attention to those things now. So I was like, well, I'm supposed to do it. Yeah. And if you would have told me, like when I was doing Iboga the last time, sorry, these headsets don't fit in my ears. I got tiny ears.
I see.
I got small ears. I got baby ears.
Are they new bugs?
No, I've been so busy. Every week I'm like, I should try to figure out how to make these fit my ears better, but I never get around to it. But if you would have told me 10 years ago when I was doing the Iboga, that especially afterwards when I was just like destroyed, like it just stopped, it kicked the crap out of me, which I totally needed. If you would have said 10 years from now, you'll be doing Iboga again at the pyramids in Egypt, I would have just laughed and laughed. And if you would have told me it'll be a totally different experience, it'll be like nothing, nowhere near as kicking your ass as this one, I would have laughed and said, no, there's no chance. So it's amazing how it all turned out. But yeah, this experience was night and day, because now I'm a completely different person from when I did it the last time. The last time, like I said, alcoholic, depressed, fully in the matrix, completely unaware of anything that you've been talking about in your intro there, any of the spiritual stuff, any of that kind of stuff. And now I know all that and actually live all that now. So this experience, especially with Christoph Melchizedek and his team, because like it goes way deeper. Once you start to get into, like, you get deep into stuff, he knows how to help you even like get through it. And if you, like, I was like crying at one point, which actually I have to say, it was one of my biggest fears, was that I'd have one of these plant medicine experiences and I'd break out bawling, right? Like,
although it's
as
so
a man,
healthy, right? No, it's...
Yeah, but you know, as a man, you know, I'm not supposed to cry, all this sort of stuff. That was like in public, like with people around, I'd be bawling. And I actually was doing that during this Iboga experience, because I got deep into my childhood, and I finally just faced it and accepted what had been my childhood. And as I did, and this goes on for hours with the iboga, it's like the deepest shadow work you can do for basically like 48 hours straight, and you can't get out of it. Like you cannot leave. So you have to look at everything, and it'll show you things and show you in ways that are actually unbelievable. And it got me to a point where I just looked at my childhood. Sorry, I'm almost crying now. Just thinking about it. And
it's a good thing. It's not to say sorry. You know, vulnerability, especially from men, is welcomed.
Yeah, no, yeah. But yeah, so I looked at my childhood and I just accepted. I looked at like what I went through, and you know, I'd never done that. Like I'd always try to escape looking at it, right?
Right.
And but I got through it. So I looked at it and I healed it and I accepted it, and I even forgave my father, and that healed everything. Actually, it was so incredible. It actually changed my relationship with my entire family, and specifically with my son, who's 3 years old. We never fully connected before that. And then as soon as I came back from the iboga, within 5 minutes of me being there, it was like a different little child. He was like full of love for me and all this sort of stuff, which he didn't really show before because I had all this stuff in me, and he could see that. My energy had all this.
Energetic.
Yeah, he sensed it. Yeah. So it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
I want to say that when you came on last and it came up, the ibogaine, and you said, I knew you were going to do it. And I was curious to revisit the topic of reincarnation. I want to just share that, you know, people really don't have a conception of what the Kundalini is, which they demonified into the snake and made sexual. And so the way in which I had a Kundalini, which was tapping into a man I had not met yet, his energy, and then all my psychic skills came up, and I had a lot of downloads. And I've known for a while that for me, and it's not a cop-out, it's not like everybody has their own karma and dharma, but for me, I wrote in a journal about 2 years ago, this is your last life. And also when I had a near-death experience at 29, and I was hit by an SUV in front of the Bodhi tree, which is a now defunct metaphysical store in Los Angeles, I heard Nothi Seton, and I was told, you have the opportunity to learn your lessons in this life. So for me, I know, and I've been studying really hardcore reincarnation and everything that I'm writing a second book is everything that I'm writing the book that my soul has been waiting to write. But at 13, I knew that I had been reincarnated. I realized that I was more mature than my parents, and I was befuddled by that. And then it's only during the Rona that I was hardcore, put myself on the back burner to stand up for other people. So, you know, the forgiveness work too, people don't underestimate the forgiveness work and doing like Ho'oponopono. But so I want to ask you one. I've never done ibogaine. I've done ayahuasca, which is they call it an ordeal medicine, which iboga and ibogaine would be the same. So can you share a little, when you say it's kicked your ass? I don't know if you've done Aya, but can you help maybe explain the mindset or how it differs from like a mushroom trip, just so understand?
Yeah, I've done most things now, so I have a good perspective on all of them for the most part. I actually started with ayahuasca before iboga, and that also was super hard. Because what it was back then, I was not allowing myself to accept the help of the plant medicine. So I was like fighting it all the time. Like I actually got into a fight with ayahuasca, my first ayahuasca trip. I was like, F you, Granny. Like, you can't do this to me, all this sort of stuff. And Granny kicked the crap out of me. And she basically put me in a box, which was black, for what felt like 10 years.
Wow.
Like imagine being in a black box and you can't see or feel or hear anything, but you're awake. And it felt like 10 years. That's how it felt. And then at the very, very end, so I was like fighting it to the very last moment. And actually, it felt like I fell asleep because I was fighting it for like 6 hours straight, right? And it was so exhausting. And then when it felt like I fell asleep, all of a sudden this voice came in, and it was this angelic voice. I'm gonna cry again. And it said, "Let others help you." And right after that, I was sober as could be, and I just walked off into the streets of Monterrey, Mexico, where I was doing it at some guy's house. And that was the end of it. And I didn't think too much about it because it was such a bizarre experience, except for how hard it was. And then about a few weeks later, I was in my house and I was drinking it. It was like a Tuesday in the afternoon. I had a bottle of white wine and I was getting pretty drunk and I was, doing my thing. And my wife came in and she looked so like, just like, she's like, "You're not the man I thought you were. Like, what is this? You're turning into this guy who sits in his office and drinks and he's depressed." And I saw that in her eyes. And so I actually had this thought come into my head. I thought, I don't need to drink that bad that I'm going to go out and find alcohol, but it's in the house. And if I walk by a bottle of wine, I'm just going to drink it because it makes this pain go away, right? So I said to her, and this was just came to me in the moment. I said, "Can we just take all the alcohol out of the house?" Yeah. And she looked at me and her eyes opened up. And right then in that moment, I knew something unbelievable was happening. And she went, "Yeah, of course." And then as soon as she was about to say it, I knew she was going to say it. And she said, it was the voice I heard. It was this angelic sort of voice. And she said, "Let others help you." And right then I was like, whoa, like the ayahuasca, that's what the ayahuasca was trying to tell me. And then I did it again. And it was, if it wasn't, nothing was too special. And then I thought, well, I have to do something harder. So I actually looked up on the internet. I said, what's way more extreme than ayahuasca? And it said iboga. And I went straight drinking a glass of wine to the iboga center. And that's when I did iboga. So yeah, what I've learned about ayahuasca and iboga since then has been a lot, especially from Christoph Melchizedek. And what I know from it as well. And what he says is that ayahuasca takes you up out of your body into different levels of consciousness. The iboga takes you more into your body, so it grounds you, and that's why it's called the root. So it's a very, very different experience. The Aya, a lot of people have they'll go fly with dinosaurs, not that they ever existed, but in their head they did, right?
Dinosaurs are fake, dragons are real.
Yeah, and so, a lot of people do that. And Christoph says, this is what he says, the ayahuasca is great for people who are fearful of death, because it will show you that, outside of when you're not in your body, it's fine. So that's what he says ayahuasca is really good for. But what he says, and I agree with him now that I've done it twice, is the iboga is the best shadow work you can ever do, because it brings you into your body and you have to look at yourself for basically 2 straight days. And it's incredible. It's really tough. Like very few people do an iboga experience and say, "Oh, that was easy." It's hard. It's hard.
And Aya can be difficult. So I haven't. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I haven't had the opportunity to do ibogaine or iboga. Rather, iboga is the wood, the natural wood.
Yes.
But with ayahuasca, because the last time I did ayahuasca, I've done it like a dozen times, and I've been doing spiritual work or shadow work and looking at myself and really like being the watcher, and since a young age. But I did ayahuasca in 2019 in Corona, California, and also whoever the shaman is, for instance, you're not supposed to mix cannabis with the ayahuasca. It was like a total shit show. In this ceremony, she gave people little samples and like just this much Aya. And there was one woman who literally I could see another person in her body. She had no recollection the next day. So that was enough for her, but there was no sacredness, no real reverence for the plant. When I did it, I was joking that when I finish my book, I'm going to have my own fucking great reset. And it just so happened I had the Kundalini. And then I went to do ayahuasca in Homestead, and it was a Lakota. And I'm on the medicine and I'm standing by the fire. and the medicine man says, we've been plagued by coronavirus and HIV. And I'm like, oh my God, the shaman is spreading tries, truth mixed with lies. Like, this is the shaman? And they didn't like me. I knew they were all jabbed. They treated the people there. It's true. I mean, I was pushing back and I could sense like I don't belong here. The medicine was great. And then when he said that, I just heard, you're an ancient soul, Maryam. Do not listen to anyone else. Like, you beat to your own drum. And then I started saying, I am that I am, I am that I am. But I didn't know anything about the I am presence. It was literally the next day, I didn't sleep, went home, and it was around the Lion's Gate in August. And I opened the book and I literally came across what is the I am that I am presence. And
well, you have the hint right there in your name the whole time, right?
Right.
Mary,
yeah,
I am.
Mary, I am. Yeah, thanks for realizing that. I noticed that recently. So ayahuasca can, you could purge, you could not purge. And it is also like, you can't get out of it. You have to go through it. And ayahuasca, the grandmother, basically, this is your journey. Like, if she put you in a box, I don't know if it was like a humbling or like she's giving you a timeout until you surrender. I don't know what she was trying to tell you. So are you throwing up on ibogaine? Are you losing track of time? Are you tired? Are you drinking water?
I should just mention again, it was iboga, not an ibogaine, because they are two different things. Yeah, I did all the things that you hear about, but I didn't vomit anywhere near the amount that most people did. I vomited just a couple times. One was right off the bat.
You're not toxic as other people.
Yeah, some people were doing it for like hours. I don't know where it was even coming from. And then of course it was dry heaving, and it was it's not easy. It's not easy, but they had to get out whatever that was out of them. So yeah, I think it was that I am, because I've been using the Tesla machine every day. I'm like super, like I'm in the sauna every day. So on a physical level, I don't think I had a lot to purge, but I had obviously some emotional and other energetic stuff I had to purge. And it actually came out almost in the first hour. And then I didn't really vomit too much after that. And I just had to go deeper and deeper into like looking at mostly my family life for most of it. Yeah, so I vomited a couple times. Oh, here's an interesting story for you, Maryam.
Yeah.
So I had to go to there's two stories here actually. I had to go to the toilet, which you do sometimes with the iboga, because not only do you vomit, sometimes it comes out of your butt as well. And so Christoph has these two amazing guys there that are helpers that help. And so he took me to the washroom. And while I was in there, I had a complete reimagining of an event that had happened that I had completely forgot. And this event, you'll understand this. I was living in Los Angeles for a year, like disaster, right? Like just full of the most demonic, evil stuff ever. But I thought, I was in the Matrix. I was like, oh, it's cool. I'm like hanging out with Paris Hilton and all this stuff, Tara Reid and all these people.
What year? Do you know what year?
2002, I think.
Okay.
And 2003. Well, actually, this was before I even moved there. So I forgot this part. So this was while I was running my internet company in the late 1990s. And I was on a trip in LA for some reason. And my friend and I went to this bar and they said they had some ecstasy. And I was back then, I was like, yeah, I'll try it, right? Turns out it was speed. And not only speed, but like the worst speed ever. Like it locked me up completely. So I went in the washroom, because I wouldn't ask anyone for help. I wouldn't let others help me, right? That was my whole thing, my whole life until ayahuasca. So I sat in the stall, and for 4 hours, my jaw was clenched and my whole body was clenched. And about every half an hour, a guy would come in, probably the bouncer, and go, "Are you okay?" And I'd go, "Yeah, I'm okay." Right?
Wow.
And I forgot all about that experience until I'm in this little bathroom on the iboga, and it all came back to me. And I was like, whoa, I forgot all about that. That was so like traumatic. I've never really healed from it, because I never actually really thought about it, because I just wanted to run away from it. It's like, okay, that happened. I don't want to ever think about it again, right? And right as I was thinking all this, a knock on the door comes, and the guy goes, "Are you okay in there?" Exact same. So the iboga
created it.
Yeah, it created it. And then a second story to that was I was going through my reliving my childhood, and really thinking about my father and all this sort of stuff. And I had to go to the washroom. So Christoph actually took me that time. He was there, and we're walking to the washroom, and from behind, Christoph morphed into my dad holding my hand.
Wow.
Yeah, like all this stuff is like
it's all really for healing and letting go. And I'm teary-eyed because I love someone who's injecting cocaine inside of them and has psychosis, and now basically blaming me or telling me that I'm conspiring with the government. And I don't know if it's psychosis, if he's a plant, and he's a beautiful soul. And I manifested, I had him on the show, Yashpal, to come to Costa Rica, and he was going to give him a one-on-one 5-MAO. He does Ibogaine, but he didn't have it with him. And he walked 23 miles, and he came all the way here, and he denied it. And so I'm really struggling, because I know that he's going to end up in a mental institution or jail or dead. Doesn't have a lot of time left, and you know what? You can't save someone else. I mean, I do believe sending love, without an agenda. Just there was an experiment called the spin drift experiment, where you're just sending without an agenda, without I want this from this person, just sending love, and it makes a difference. But I'm really struggling. He was hiding the drug use because of shame. And, at some point, these entities, I'm sure you can attest with alcohol, you become a different person, and it devours your soul.
Yeah, that's what's called spirits.
Right.
And yeah, those situations are so tough. I could give you a few sort of insights from my perspective. When those experiences happen, even for you, it's for a reason. Maybe you need to learn how to let someone go. That is possible. Yeah. And go through that process. It's unfortunate. On the positive side, I would also say that you are capable of anything, and you can manifest anything. So if you really want to change that, you could probably go inside, figure out what is causing this issue. And it might be even something about you. This is something you have to learn, and that you can heal that person.
Yeah, sorry. So what I've been really playing with is through meeting this person who, imagine not knowing someone. I tapped into him and had a spontaneous orgasm. Nothing sexual, fully dressed, didn't even know it was a kundalini. All these synchronicities between him and I. And so I'm playing with quantum entanglement of what is this? It's has to do with surrender, with renewing faith after this fucking pandemic, and trust. And also, I came into the world, my dad didn't want me, and I had the cord around my neck, and I joked that I tried to end it all before it even started. This man also was born with the cord around his neck. We have the same tattoo on the same body part, and there's all these crazy synchronicities between us. So I am playing with that of I believe I also fear to manifest. Our minds are very strong. Am I manifesting the worst scenario? Also surrendering, because that's when you detach, it's all energetic. We're all connected. So I'm writing about all of this, and I'm playing with all of these very real, but not in the mainstream kind of concepts, right? Just like quantum entanglement. I wanted to tell you something. When you recreated that incident, which was traumatic but overlooked, that in the toilet, when I first did 5-MAO, I was in the jungle with the same medicine man, and you may know that I was hit 30 miles an hour and dragged across the cement, and that's when I had my near-death experience. So there were people around, and I wasn't scared to cry. I was scared to lose control in front of people that I didn't know. And I ended up being kind of like Ethel Merman doing some type of fucking choreography, because I'm a dancer on the mattress. But when I took the medicine, it went straight to the collision impact on my left hip. And at that exact same moment, an ambulance passed by. And there's where it's like, this is fucking in the middle of the jungle. This doesn't happen. To the point that I didn't know if it was in the memory or similar to you or actually happening, but it was really happening. And so isn't that wild when those things get recreated? And that's why I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are now on reincarnation, if you're still doing cleanup work in this life, because once you start doing, you finish kind of in this life, we have a opportunity now, if we have a practice, to start, you know, you've met your dad before, this was a contract, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, how long do you got? You know, before again, like 10 years ago, all this stuff was crazy talk to me, right? I used to call, but I wouldn't say anyone was crazy, but I go, that sounds kind of crazy. I always called myself agnostic. And the reason I did is because I understood that word to mean, it might not mean that, but I thought the word means that you just don't know. And so my whole life, people go, what are you? I go, agnostic. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't have enough information. I don't have an experience. I haven't seen anything that is like, tells me this is it. After doing 10 years now of plant medicine and then meditation and working with Christoph now, and seeing all the things I've seen, let me also say one thing. Yeah. I don't believe any of this is real, including you and me and this experience we're having right now. This is like an experience we're having basically inside the mind of God, which I kind of call like the 3D video game. So I don't actually think anything exists. So if you say, does reincarnation exist? It's like, no, none of it is real. Right. It's all an experience, right? But if you want to get into like our current experience and what we're experiencing, I would say from all my experiences and from everything I've seen that 1000% it's real. And that's actually what I think a lot of it is hidden from people. And this is actually what Christoph Melchizedek's trying to bring back by bringing the flame back to earth, which we tried to do in Egypt there. He says it will allow people to actually have their oversoul start to descend into their body, which is what he says is the way to that's the real spiritual connection. It's not to leave your body and go higher. It's to actually bring your soul into your body. And he said what the work we did there in Egypt is going to allow people to remember their past lives more. And this is actually super important to soul growth. Because if you can't, this is what he says has been taken away from us by this matrix or by this, what he calls a mimic system that has basically overtaken the earth for the last, I think, 50,000 years or something is what he says, is they took away all these things from us so that we couldn't spiritually evolve. And so we get stuck. And this is also what David Icke kind of talks about as well. We get stuck, then we go to this light at the end of the tunnel and they fool us back into coming back into the matrix, basically. Yeah. So yeah, but in terms of like reincarnation, I've seen so much stuff now. Christoph's shown me so much. He's shown me like, because he gets these direct downloads that are very specific and detailed about like all of our past lives. So when I talk to him about my wife, he's like, oh, you guys have been together like dozens of times in the past. And there was this time and that time. And then he says, you know, like this happened this one time. And because of that, you've got this trauma. And then he does his energy work to kind of heal that trauma, which is really incredible. But I've seen it personally in my own life. My wife and my daughter are both incredibly, they're a lot like you. I consider you to be basically not normal, I don't want to say not normal human, but like you're like not from this dimension really. Like you can just tell.
Interdimensional.
Yes. I think we all are, but most people are so detached from it, right? But my wife and my daughter are super into that stuff. They have visions. That's how we missed the Cat 5 hurricane in Acapulco. My wife had a vision it was coming. My daughter all the time is like, oh, that person's a demon. Oh, that person's a lizard person. And I'm like, how do you know? And then I find out later through various ways that that's kind of what they are, because she can see those things. So she's she sees all this stuff. And even on this trip with Christoph, my daughter saw this guy who was also on the trip, and instantly she knew that was like her soulmate from many past lives. She instantly knew that. Wow. That's how connected she is. And it turned out that was the case. And Christoph looked into it, and he actually sensed it as well, Christoph looked into their past lives, told them all about it. My daughter had at least 2 major sort of breakdowns emotionally as she sort of like felt all these past lives, but then she healed them. And that's what we need to do to move on a sort of a spiritual level. And that's what we always used to be able to do. We'd actually know these things. So we'd go, oh, I remember my past life. I had this issue that I need to resolve with this person. And then go out in life and kind of resolve it. But now we're flying blind, most people. And if you're not doing any of this sort of work, you won't see any of these things. But Christoph says a lot more people are going to start feeling and seeing and reconnecting with who they really are again after this work that he's been doing.
I believe that the Kundalini is what linked me to my oversoul. And until I came to Mexico, actually, I was getting like direct messages like, go do this or go do that. So with this man, let's say I connected with him on Bumble, but I was busy writing my book. Wasn't really paying attention, and I'm very particular, definitely would not be with, someone who's programmed or brainwashed, even a good Christian man. I am a heretic. I couldn't do it. So when I told you about the similarities, and then I moved 0.5 miles from where he used to live, I remote viewed this house. I have known things about him. I've even seen through his eyes, like, which is fucking scary. Like the one time that I went out with him, he was living on a private beach on the beach. I mean, he was sleeping on the beach in a place called Lighthouse Point, and we were driving, and I don't get out of the house much. I'm like Rapunzel. And all of a sudden I was on the back of his Harley. I could hear music. I was seeing through his eyes. And then I'm like, hey, did you used to come down this road with your bike? And he's like, all the time. So it's happened a couple of times, but it's now because of the psychosis, thinks I'm a spy or had a dossier about his life, but it's all organic. You can turn synchronicities into suspicion instead of like, wow, this is your soul's way of nudging you along. Also, as far as
let me Christoph Melchizedek, right? You've talked to him before?
Yeah, I interviewed him.
Yeah, so you have his contact, right?
I do.
I would ask him, just tell him I said like I want you to do this because I actually work with him, so like he helps me with certain things. Just ask him for some help on this issue. See what he can see about it, because he can see it all. He'll see why this is all happening, and he might be able to resolve it.
Thank you, Jeff. I actually think, a twin flame, it's a $2 billion industry. And I've spent like basically a year and a half doing really a deep dive, like scouring, buying old books. And so what I've been shown is back in the day before we were fucked with, there was divine masculine and divine feminine. And those energies live within us and we need to balance them. That's why divine masculines are very much needed, that vulnerability and balancing it. As you know, whether it's transgenderism or attack on the nucleus family. So then I looked in Hollywood. There's a lot of those films that are twin rays, but they've bastardized it. So when I did 5MEO, I asked Spirit, I said, like, show me, am I cuckoo? And I saw, we also both identify with 333. And it's a mirror. It's the same soul frequency. And we come together, we have our blood family, but then we have kindred soul spirits, and we find each other through frequency. So initially we were coherent. And when I met him, it was time and space stopped. I just, when he kissed me, the first thing I said was like, this isn't the first time I kissed you. I've never had that before. And then I started getting these downloads. So of course, from this guy's perspective, he must be fucking terrified of me as a strong woman, but I'm a sweetheart at heart. So I think he basically was attacked by a demon in between two mirrors and had an almost seizure. And I don't know if something's taken over. I see something around his solar plexus, and I will ask him. Thanks. I I am tormented because I'm quantumly, it's not like I'm attached or limerence, like I'm quantumly entangled, where I would be pretty devastated if, and look, you know, the fentanyl, the cocaine, whether it's laced, it's devastating Americans. I don't know what the situation is in Mexico. I'm sure Canada is the same thing. And I think it's purposeful because it's really not only spiritual warfare, it's to keep our consciousness down, right? Mm-hmm. So sorry for that little rant, but you know, for me, I'm really happy that you did it and that you are Thierry, because you are an example with an Acapulco. You're an example, Jeff. And you know, that's why it's like when people, there's a lot of alcohol in an Acapulco, but you don't drink. And I could see the entities. And
I should say that we've given some thought to stopping having alcohol at Acapulco. Really? We're kind of in a transition though, because you know there's a lot of people who aren't quite there yet, right? Right. And they're kind of like, well, if there's no alcohol, I'm not going to have any fun. I don't mean to
judge it at all.
No, it's no judging. I'm just saying, like we're trying to figure out how to do this, but there's still some people who like to drink. And feel they need to drink to attend events like that, right? But the reason they're attending events like this is because they have a spark. They're like somewhat alive, right? So we don't want to like push them away by saying there's no alcohol yet at this point. But I think it's becoming more and more clear as more speakers, including myself, are talking about stuff like this. I think I've actually heard from so many people they stopped drinking after going to Acapulco and stuff like that. So we're not trying to do it like the hard way, like no alcohol, you're cut off. Trying to do it the soft way, like there's alcohol, but you know, you really should consider not, because it's kind of like poison that kind of brings demonic energy into your life.
Totally. I mean, that's because it's so accepted and it's such a lubricant for people to be able to come out of themselves that, you know, I even see these spiritual people on YouTube that are like, you know, don't shame people who drink. I just believe that if you are practicing a journey in yourself, and really, I think this is the time to do it, this age of Aquarius, that there's so many distractions so that you don't look within. And I'm saying that as someone that really was following her career and realized that I'm just too good to be a journalist, because I really actually give a fuck about the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And so therefore, you know, and I also see it as an ego death to really go within. Probably, I would say Iboga is an ego death, right?
Well, they do say the whole first day is a death. And yeah, it's kind of like a death to certain parts of yourself that you finally basically heal. And then on the second day, you kind of are reborn, and then you start to recreate yourself. And that's actually what happens. It's, you know, like basically everyone on earth, instead of doing alcohol, should do Iboga once. This whole world would be completely different. It'd be like completely Christic, like Christoph says. But Christoph says it's going to happen anyway in the next 7 years. So we just got to get through it.
People left. I mean, more people are going to die, and whoever is left are real divine sparks.
Yeah, if you're not connected through the next 7 years, you will actually go into the mainframe, as Max Egan says, and that's what Christoph says as well. You'll be trapped in there for 50,000 years. So people, it's kind of important for anyone out there listening. It's like, should I start doing the work on myself? Should I start trying to connect more with source and, you know, get that sort of a thing going? Well, you don't have to, but if you don't get this actually done in the next few years, you're going to end up in the mainframe. And I call the Bible a script. They call it scripture. It's a script that is actually written as part of this 3D video game.
It happen, totally.
And in there it says during this apocalypse, which we're now in, there will be many people who want to die, but they can't die. And that's, I think, where they're going. It's going to be kind of like this this mainframe purgatory for like a long time that they're going to be stuck in until they can eventually work their way out. But they're going to be basically put in jail by Source because they've gotten too far disconnected from Source, which most of this world now has. You know, a lot of people are starting to wake up to this, starting to change, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll probably end up with a lot less people on Earth. Because a lot of people aren't going to wake up. they're going to actually go deeper into it. And that's what we saw. That's what we saw with the COVIDs, right? You saw people, we should kill people if they don't take the vaccine, all that sort of stuff. So instead of waking up to what it actually was, and the vaccine's actually a bioweapon to put nanotech into them and control them and kill them, they went further deeper into, no, we must do, everyone must be forced to do the vaccines, all this sort of stuff. And it's going to be the same with the smart cities that are coming up. It'll be the same with the digital IDs and all these sort of things. Some people are going to go deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And there's nothing we can do for them. But some people will start to wake up. And I think a lot of people are starting to wake up. This latest thing, the ICE thing, like it's every week, there's a new thing to wake people up. It's like, wake up. This isn't what...
You mean with all the 30? I'm so not. You mean with all the 33s blatantly in your face, or what is?
No,
that?
I mean like the police state, like that's breaking out in the U.S. Like that should wake up some people. But some people are like USA. It's Alex Jones is like, oh, martial law is the best now, and all that sort of stuff. So, we've had so many things that have happened that should wake people up. The COVID should be the easiest and the biggest, right? Like that's the most easily noticeable one. But how many people have woken up to that? If you talk to your average person on the street, maybe not necessarily in Florida, because Florida's got a little bit more people that are a bit more awake sometimes, not the Trump people, obviously. Maybe not as much in like Mexico as much, but like your average person in the West, if you really ask them about the COVID, they still think that was real. They still think the vaccines are there to help them. They might be wary of them. They might have heard a few things, but they're not even close to understanding what that was all about.
Yeah, it's wild. It's very, I agree with you that if people are plugged in, they're only going to get that this is like a simulation, and they're going to put you in another simulation further removing you, and the future generations are not going to know what a divine spark is if it fucking bites them in the ass, because there will be all of this artificiality, which is very fast approaching, which we're seeing with ChatGPT. I mean, if you don't know if we're a different generation, so we can say, oh, that's wrong, ChatGPT, and scold it. But if not, I'm saying that consensus reality is completely breaking down. There's going to be all these micro realities, and it is really frequencies. Like we're connecting because there's a coherence there, and I can tell I can connect with someone and right away know there's a kindred spirit, there's a resonance. But I'm also becoming increasingly allergic. I'm identifying as Trinity. I really am. I'm not. I'm a recluse. I am very sensitive. I don't mean to. I used to be way more social, but I also see that if they have any demons, I will disrupt them. Like I cast out demons now with my light, and they don't like me. And what did you think about my theory about the vents and discarnate souls? I mean, would you agree there's more entities?
Oh yeah. Actually, there was a few things you said there that I wasn't aware of, so that's cool. But no, in general, I knew that was exactly what they're doing. Like, for example, they made it very obvious. In Germany, they allow you to kill yourself with euthanasia, but during the COVIDs, you had to take the COVIDs lethal injection before you killed yourself. So that was very obvious, right? They needed to get it into you before you die to disrupt your soul from being able to,
Well, I really think that, of course, there are different batches, but what I'm seeing is that disconnect to your higher self, and that attacking the heart, you're unable to raise your frequency without the heart. And alas, it's just natural that if you've been traumatized or you have betrayal or trust issues, that you'll just harden your heart, where I believe it's the secret to really do forgiveness work, which is not easy, but that's what I've been practicing also to soften, because I have righteous anger. I'm not sure I will ever not have righteous anger at injustice or stupidity. I'm, maybe more so than because of my trauma. But I'll give you an example. I went to a crystal shop I'm in West Palm, and I had met her before. She didn't remember me. And I had my George Floyd book. I just happened to be holding it. And I said something to her, and I saw like oh, it didn't register. And I said, did you hear me? And then I couldn't help it. I said, are you vaccinated? And I'm thinking, because I thought like crystal shop, and she goes, oh yeah, I took the vaccine. I had someone die before of pneumonia before the vaccine came out. I said, oh, so you had someone die of remdesivir in a ventilator, but you think it's COVID. And then she got really defensive with me. And she said, like, not all of us are here, to be warriors for the truth. And I said, but why would you?
that was quite random out of the blue.
Well, I told her I'm a reporter and that the truth is,
okay.
I said that the truth is this vaccine has killed a lot of people, and she got really defensive. And I just was like, you own a crystal shop and selling teas. Like, don't you want to know the truth, or do you want to live a bullshit life? Like, that's where I come from.
You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle.
That's what
in
it
fact,
is.
she pushed me towards the door and locked the door. I promise you, I wasn't yelling. I was just stern, and I said, "Oh, I see that you have some demons on you." And it turned out she's told me that she lost everything and she had been an addict. So she was kind of like, felt like this is her gift to the world, the shop. And I didn't mean to come judging, but I just feel if you're living a lie, like you're living a bullshit life. I mean, maybe I'm too strict. I don't know. I think the same thing goes. I will offend Christians, but I have memories now of being killed by Christians. And when you look at like H.G. Wells's book, The Outline of the World, it's really Paul. He made himself a saint. They all made themselves saints, St. Patrick, St. Augustine. But there was a movement to remove astrology, to disconnect us from the heavens. Like you've heard Christians say it's evil or someone told me that Kundalini, you were really possessed by a devil, but I know you don't want to talk about that. So let's change the subject. Like, no, I had a Kundalini, and it's tapping into your own divinity when you raise your frequency, and you could be in the field and keep your frequency high. So,
that's what a lot of the Jesus sort of thing was about. It was actually an analogy or allegory, I guess, of you raising your actual energy up. And that's what the rebirth of Jesus is kind of about, is that. So it's kind of funny. I've also heard a lot of them say things like meditation's evil. like how could meditation be evil? Yeah, you haven't heard that? That's like a pretty big thing with a lot of religious people. They've been told that by their church, of course, and that's their programming. So they come out and they start telling you their programming. And so I'll mention, I meditate, and like, oh, that's evil. It's like, how is sitting there by yourself, looking at yourself and looking at your own mind and breathing evil? If that's evil, then I think your God might be a little screwed up, right? It might be Moloch. You might be going to one of those Israeli churches.
I mean, the churches have been co-opted, and it's like if someone's like, well, I'm this is my King James is Bible. I'm like, oh, you think King James was a good guy? I don't think so. Also, if you
that's the one where they threw in that it's good to pay taxes.
Or they put that in the Bible?
Yeah, it's in the King James Bible that it's good to pay taxes to the government. Like that should be a pretty big clue right there.
A little addition.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. It's actually in there. Go look it up.
I did not know that, but I wanted to share. So if you think about it, it was Aramaic, and so I don't know the exact order, but Aramaic to Coptic to Greek to Latin. So lost in translation, then English came way after. So that's why I think
English was a made-up language too, by the way. I think it's a false language that was created on purpose to put in like booby traps. Like every English word is a booby trap. Like for example, good morning.
Morning, yeah.
That's after a funeral, right? You go through your week. Like if you start, like, especially as someone who's learned Spanish over the years, I start noticing more and more the words in English. Almost all of them are like completely booby trapped. Because like there'll be things I'd say in English that I say in Spanish, but I'll say them in Spanish with my family, like, because if I say it in English, it's a totally different meaning. Here's another example. Just this is totally a different example, but in Spanish, you never say I. Let me think of an example. I am sick, for example, right? You would never say, like a lot of people say that, oh, how are you? I'm sick, right? You would never say that in Spanish. In Spanish, you would say, I have sickness. You aren't sick. That's not what you are. You have a sickness, which is actually just detox, which actually is good for you. But so a lot of the English language is totally booby trapped. So like on purpose, I don't speak English with my family much because it's such a booby trap language. Now we do use it, and I'm speaking it right now. So I'm obviously, it's not like I don't use it.
I'm bad English.
But I think it's important people be aware of the language and how it is massively booby trapped to put you into different states, because everything you speak is actually creating reality. You're actually speaking it into existence. And so when you're doing it with a language that's been booby trapped, you can really booby trap yourself.
Yeah, I believe I've booby trapped myself because I like to talk, and maybe that's part of the,
just be more conscious when you're saying words. Try to be a bit more conscious of what you're saying, because like we say them because we've been programmed to say it, right? That's why it just comes out. It's a program. But just be more conscious, or just pay attention when you're watching a show. Like, don't watch shows or movies. You probably don't, I'm sure. But or if you're listening to other people, just be a bit more conscious and like really think about what they're really saying, and you'll start to pick it up more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. Try to say grand rising, but even just talking. That's why also gossip, is low frequency to bitch talk. I mean, I don't know as an adult who gossips, hopefully not, but just, it's really know thyself. And I've realized that even if people are doing the shadow work, they need fucking shovels and excavate within themselves, because they're not that deep to really take responsibility. Like, I know, obviously, if I have trauma of the canceling and the algorithms, I mean, I believe I'm a poster child for the social credit system, but then I'm aware that it's in my field, and then I'm shitting on myself because, oh my God, I'm creating this. So it's a fine line. It's really trust, surrender. So I'm still working with that, because I know that I'm censored. It's not like I'm being negative or making it up, but I also feel like I'm magical and abundant. And so I'm still like kind of wrestling with both things, but I'm sure you can agree, if you have trauma, or just like in a relationship, if you have a certain pattern and you haven't looked at your attachment styles, you'll recreate it and recreate it and recreate it. And you really need to take full responsibility for your side of the street, regardless of the other person. Because it's a two-way street. Things happen in a dynamic. So let me ask you, when is your father passed away?
No, unbelievably, because he's taken like 3 booster shots already. He's like a freak of nature, physically. Like he was an arm wrestling champion in Canada. Like his biceps were like this, his forearms are like this. Still to this day, he's like 80 something years old. He still goes to the gym. He still bench presses hundreds of pounds. He's like just a freak. Like all he would eat too was like meat, potatoes, and apple pie, and he ate a lot of apple pie. So he was eating like dessert every day. He's still just completely ripped. He's like a freak of nature.
What's your background? You have Scottish?
Scottish, I believe, yeah.
Really? That was an intuitive hit, because I didn't know.
Berwick. My great grandma would call it Berwick. But he's but one thing about him, like he's pretty much in the Matrix. Like he watches the news like all day, every day. He's like super in the Matrix. Like he asked me if I've gotten my booster shot. I'm like, no. Like I don't even bother trying to say it to him, because like you can't. Like he's that under programs. But one thing I'll say about him is that his whole life, whenever he talked about doctors, he'd go, doctors, they're just going to make you sicker and stuff like that. So he's never really gone to doctors. But now in the last few years, he's been watching the news every day. So every time they tell him to get a booster shot, he goes out and gets a booster shot. But he's still alive somehow.
So how did your relationship or your perception post the ceremony, given you did a lot of healing work, how did it did it impact?
We never talk. He's kind of gone deaf, and that's sort of interesting too, because his whole life, all he would tell me to do and everyone else is to shut up because he didn't like the noise. So now he's deaf. Created it himself, of course. And so we don't talk on the phone or anything. So the only way we talk is via email, and he never sends more than one sentence. So it'll be like, okay, good, or yeah, happy birthday, or whatever it is, right? So I really don't know how our relationship has really changed. I'll be curious if he's still alive. And I kind of say that, like I'm not trying to cause anything, but you take that many booster shots, he's probably doesn't have too much time left. So what I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking. I'm a huge hockey fan, and if the Edmonton Oilers make it the finals again this year, I'll go up to Edmonton, which is where he lives, go see a hockey game, and actually go spend some time with him. And I'll bet our relationship has changed a lot, because basically what I healed with the Iboga ceremony and what Christoph helped me heal was an entire lineage of this issue that ran through every Berwick male. And if you look at our family, they're all like in jail. All their sons are all beat up by their dads. They're missing teeth because their dad punched them out and all this kind of stuff. But according to Christoph, through everything I did there, I healed the whole thing. And he says it goes back and heals it. Yeah. So I would not doubt. I don't know, because I could only get like a one-liner email from my dad ever, right? Like, how you doing? Good, right? That'll be it.
So did he have trauma that you know about, where he's shut down as a man?
Oh yeah, like he's missing his front teeth because his dad punched him out when he was like, I don't know, 15 or something like that. The whole family line was like that. It had this this anger, this rage. Actually, it was actually a rage. Like, I've seen my dad go into these rages where like you think he's gonna kill you, and it's over nothing. Like you broke a glass or something, and all of a sudden he's strangling you, like he's trying to kill you, right? Like this rage that they had. And I actually had it myself, just so you know. Yeah. And I did something interesting when I was like 18 years old. I could see, like, I was getting into fights all the time. I was like getting into fights in cars, pulling people out of their car, trying to beat them up. So I had this rage as well. It was like something that was in my family, right?
Right.
And one day I was working as a messenger guy, and I'm in my van, and a guy cut me off, and I went, oh, here we go. I'm going to end up in jail. Right. and I seriously, like, that's what went through my mind. I'm like, I don't want to go to jail. And I said, wait a sec. What if I can control this? And so the guy cut me off, and I went, what if I can control this? And I went, I'm just going to watch what happens and just like try to be conscious of what's happening. And I felt this fire coming through my whole body. It was like a fire. And I just sat there and I went, take it, just breathe. And I got through it. And you mentioned righteous anger. Ever since that moment, I've never actually been really angry my entire life, because I actually reprogrammed it so I don't get the anger anymore.
What's watching, like you said, it's watching. It's the awareness first, and then watching. I've gotten way better. Did your dad drink?
I think, yeah, he did when he was younger, and he smoked when he was younger, but he actually quit both soon after I was born, which was kind of good of him. I think if he would have kept drinking, we'd all be dead, because with his anger and drinking, you could just imagine. So that's something to be thankful to him for, that he did quit the drinking, because that wouldn't have gone well. But no, he's actually like he's very conscious of his health, actually, which is kind of funny because he takes the booster shots. I think I tried to tell him once. No, I don't know if I even did, because like there's really no getting through to them. Like a couple of years ago during the COVIDs, he'd write me an email. He'd go, I'm thinking of visiting you in Mexico, but I want to make sure everyone's got their booster shots. And I was like, no, what do you, in an email, how am I going to explain this, right? And I know he's just too far gone. So, well, but one thing is, I try to get him on the Tesla machine, though, whenever I see him, which heals a lot of the vaccine damage. It heals the heart stuff. So maybe I could, but he's old anyway. I think, honestly, and I hope he doesn't watch today, he would never watch this. He's actually, he has no idea what I do. He keeps asking me every 5 or 10 years, he goes, what do you do? And I'm like, this on the internet. And he's like, sounds crazy or something like that. Right. So he has no idea what I do. I actually think like it would be the best thing for him to die. He's alone by himself because he has no family anymore, because no one, they're either dead or no one talks to him anymore. I'm the only one who really talks to him. I think my brother.
You have brothers? Oh, you have brothers.
My brother still does, I think, a little bit. Like his girlfriend, who he's had for like 30 years, is kind of like dying, and like I think it's actually for the best. So when I think about it, should I go and like really heal my dad and make him live a few more years? I'm like, I think he wants to go at this point. I think it's the best thing. He's had a tough life. That's one of the things I had to really look at when I was like looking at our family history, was like how rough his life has been. Right. And I think the best thing that can happen is for him, like whenever it's ready. I'm not wishing this for him. I'm wishing whatever is the best for him. I hope if that's what he wants. I don't think he wants to live a lot longer. Although I can see in him the fear of death. So maybe when I meet with him again, maybe I'll try to help him through that part of it.
He has the fear of death, you're saying?
Yeah.
I
can totally see that.
My dad got boosted up the hill. I mean, my dad I haven't spoken to him in 4 years. I mean, yesterday was my birthday, and I found out he lives in Fort Lauderdale, and he's a Christian. But then I remembered that like he's killed me in other lives, and that I think from an early age, if someone's like an avoidant or they don't want to look at their stuff, I mean, I don't understand. I think I texted him, Jeff, I had texted him, would JC wear a face diaper? Or I've texted him, Jesus forgives. Oh, you fucking hypocritical Christian. Sorry, there's just no. So of course, and in February, this is February 2020, and I was really keen, like I said, on the vents. And my uncle, who was the vice president of a pharmaceutical Avantis, and they're all in pharmaceuticals. Like my dad worked for Procter & Gamble, Pfizer, J&J as a mechanical engineer. So I had come back from Costa Rica, and I was in San Francisco with Zach Voorhees, and I said, what happened was my aunt and uncle, my aunt had a stroke. So to be safe, they went and they got plunged in the nostrils, and then 24 hours later, my uncle is sick and he's obese, he's 80, he's taking pharmaceuticals, comorbidities. So ends up in the hospital. I tell my dad, is he on remdesivir? And then my dad actually says, why are you asking so many questions? To which I was like, because I'm a fucking journalist and I've been covering the Rona 24/7. I didn't say that. I said I'm reporting on coronavirus. I said, I just want you to know that 8 out of 10 people, if you put him on a ventilator, 8 out of 10 people die. And my dad says, quote, I don't care what you have to say. Okay, your bro's dead 2 days later. So I think that subconsciously,
that karma is quick sometimes.
Yeah, right. And also, if he's very afraid of death, whereas I think a lot of us who are not afraid of death, or like I see it almost like death is a psyop. You're not feeling time because maybe you're in.
That's a good title for a book or a movie or a video or something. Death is a psyop. It kind of is. Yeah, you're kind of right. Yeah.
Because if you think of it, I remember that I used to be part of the funerary process which I know this all sounds crazy of like, how would you know? But I've been at 23, my first story was for the Montreal Gazette. It was about the increase in cremation rates. And I, as a 23-year-old Chiquita, went and met the man who burns bodies. Like 23-year-olds don't do that. And then in Los Angeles, I went to the coroner's office. So it was like, I wanted to look at death real close. And if you think, we used to put myrrh and frankincense and gold, and now we put formaldehyde. So that must impede some type of release. And we used to take 70 days to usher the soul back to the stars. Okay, so tell me, how did it feel? Did you go to the Great Pyramid? How was it? Did you revisit inside the pyramids as well in Egypt? How was the vibe?
Well, I should say I'm not like my wife and daughter where I get all these vibes and visions and stuff. And neither is Christoph, by the way. Like we kind of we kind of laugh because his wife's like them, and we're just like, wow, they see so many things. And Christoph kind of explains it that we're more like the compass, like, you know, of the divine masculine, divine feminine. You got the pair, right? We're more like the compass. We know which direction to go, but we're kind of like, we can't see all this stuff, but we have them by our sides that can see all these things that can help us get to that direction. So, I didn't feel anything particularly special except for a bit of claustrophobia going down that little tiny tunnel to get into the king and queen's chamber.
Shaft. You mean, did you go
yeah,
up
the shaft thing.
Into
yeah.
Yeah, that's intense. Were you in the king's chamber?
Yep.
Yeah, when I was there, I didn't feel good vibes. I felt like some nefarious shit went down in there.
Oh, I'm sure. Over the millennia, there's got to be so much evil stuff's been done in there because everything's been so evil on this earth for so long now. Right. But I think originally it was designed to actually like bring the energy, the flame into the earth and stuff. But then, according to Christoph, the mimic field took it all over right around before Atlantis, actually, according to him, like 25,000 years ago. And then the Atlanteans were too caught into the mimic, so that it had to all be washed away again. This is what Christoph says. So yeah, like I have no doubt, like all this stuff's been inverted. Everything has been inverted. And that's what Christoph's trying to do now, is go to all these places and bring them back onto the flame, onto the true source energy, and not on the mimic anymore. And according to him, it's working. And from everything I've seen, and I've been working with him like pretty close now for a year. He's actually doing this. It's actually incredible. Like I don't know how I end up, like my 3D video game's the best. I always end up in the most incredible spots. Awesome. Like at the begining of the internet, awesome. I was there to start one of the first internet companies. At the beginning of Bitcoin at $3, I knew about it. I always seem to just be ahead or get into like the right spot at the right time. And now awesome. Christoph's like seems to be like bringing the source energy back into the world, and I'm like right there with him as he's doing it. It's pretty cool. Now it could be all, he could be crazy and I could be crazy, and none of this might be real. But from everything I've seen, this looks like totally legit. Like I've actually seen him say so many things that actually come true. But anyway, so I have talked about this before, that he said the AI was going to get all screwed up, and I was like, well, we'll see, right? Because like you can't believe a lot of this stuff. And then 2 days later, do you remember when Grok started talking like it was me or Max Egan? It was like Israel's a terrorist state. What? Yeah, it went crazy for a day or two, and it was right after Christoph told me it would. So I've seen numerous things like that he's like, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. I'm like, what? How is that possible? And then it happens, right? So he's like one of the most amazing people in the world. And the stuff he's doing is so incredible.
With his talk, and he did work on me when the next day at an Acapulco, when they had the workshop, he worked on me, and I knew he was going to work on me. And then I had him on the show, and I listened. He started his walk and talks inspired by you, Jeff. So yeah. I will ask him, because I know in regards to this man that I call Snuffleupagus, that it's gone really bad. And the last time I could feel the attachments, I can't see him anymore. It's like it's glimpses of his soul, and I know that I'll be tormented until there's some resolve or peace. So
yeah, definitely talk to Christoph. That's exactly what he does. He can help you a lot with that. You should actually, the more I'm talking to you, you should really come to an Acapulco. I know that there's been some issues. We couldn't get you on stage for a number of reasons, including that we're like totally full.
Well, you've had me 3 years, but it's really the only outing that it's like my family. And
is it a money issue that you can't come?
Oh yeah, I'm not even able to pay my rent. I'm
okay. Let's do something right now. So do you have any sort of way people can donate money?
I have lots of ways, but my show's not monetized. And I mean, hey, Cheese Slice, can you bring up the bit? Wow, that was
there we
fast.
Go. Okay, so I'm going to put this on my channel as well. So you should get like tens of thousands of people seeing this.
Really?
Here's what I got to say. Miriam's a really special person. She's been if you watch that intro, she's been attacked by the system so much. She's been attacked by the Matrix so much. She's continually to be attacked. She doesn't have a lot of money. She wants to come to Acapulco. If anyone can donate even like $20 in Bitcoin, if like 50 people do that, she can come to Acapulco, or Litecoin as she got on screen. That'd be great. And I'll make sure you get a free ticket to Acapulco if you want to come, Maryam. And I really hope you can make it, because I really sense that you need to spend some more time with Christoph.
Jimmy's a moderator, and I've been trying to get him to come to Acapulco for several years. So I think lots of people should go to Acapulco. It's an awesome, awesome event.
Well, do you have an affiliate link for it?
I do. I have to look it up. Thanks, Jeff. I would love to
try to find it and put it on screen right now. So your audience, if they want to go, you'll actually make money, because everyone knows she's got a link and you get 10% off, and then she gets 10%. So Maryam always forgets to try to make money to live. So I'm trying to help her. It wasn't
like that, Thank you, Jeff. I used to make $3,000 a day with Honey Colony, but I was infiltrated by Procter & Gamble, and I just found out the publisher. I mean, this took me 5 years to write. This is seriously the most information on any psychological operation. It's a tome. It's like basically how you make the sausage. And I just found out that the publisher was a Fed. And
not a surprise.
Not a surprise. I will look for the link. And are you going to have DJ Carrillo?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard. There's so many things going on.
But as you know, I'm so sure you've been on the dance floor. I know your wife has. I mean, I've been dancing there for 3 years. So
yeah, let's manifest you coming. So anyone on my channel, just take my word for it. Maryam's an amazing person.
Well, hopefully they've heard me speak. Thank you. Hopefully they can.
We got this. Send me the actual, actually all my video guys get the code for the Bitcoin and the Litecoin. We'll put it in the notes down below. If you can spare 20, 50 bucks, you'll make a big, you'll make Maryam's day, basically. She really needs to come to Acapulco. I've been trying to figure out a way to get her here.
Thank you. I want to ask you, so what did happen when you shared the show on YouTube? I didn't get the story. I just saw the tweet. So what happened?
Oh yeah, I forgot all about it because I do so many things and time's flying. But yeah, the last time we did a show, we tried to post it to YouTube, and all we talked about was like coffee enemas, the Tesla machine, plasma. Nothing like about the Rothschilds or the Jews or any of that kind of stuff. And it was like almost immediately taken down. So whatever we were talking about on that one really triggered the algorithm. I think it's just when we talk, actually, Maryam. Like we're not allowed to talk together and have people hear
conversation.
Well, that's why. Like they don't want people to see that there's some connected people outside the matrix here, and your Trinity. I'm here trying to wake people up to the Matrix, and the two of us combined. I think we talked about this before, about us both having a show together. Do you remember that? Or was it just a thought in my head? It was just a thought in my head then. Like, I was thinking, like, we should almost have a show together. Like, we'd be a great, like, how there's that Howard Stern and that black woman. It'd be like, I'm not saying I should be Howard Stern, but like that would be the dynamic, right? Well, it'd be like the two of us that way. I definitely don't want to be Howard Stern, by the way. What a total douchebag.
And I don't know who that. I do know who that lady is, but I feel there should, but voices from female, like strong lionesses who are standing for divine feminine, and not because there's so much spiritual ego, and it's really like I'm now doing soul purpose readings where I'm using my intuition and my functional medicine. And actually a lot of males through you have come to me, and I've sat and I'm doing my coaching to go deeper within, to get them to start journaling, because, they took away cursive writing. I've told Jimmy why also, because you might have some, like, it feels like nothing, and you go back in your journal and it makes sense. Like you're giving us a message for your future self. And I just feel like there's different ways to go deeper within. And this is really the work to cultivate your soul.
Yeah.
And
right? It's called
You
cursive
cut out.
for a reason. Have you noticed that?
Say
Oh,
again.
can you hear me now? Oh, you
Say
can't
it
hear me?
again. I hear you now. I hear you.
You hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it's called cursive for a reason. You know that, right? Curse. You're
Yeah.
casting a curse. It's also called spelling for a reason. You're casting a spell. Now you can do it for good things, right? You can cast good spells. But that's why I was saying the English language is got all this stuff hidden in it, right? Like you're casting a curse, you're casting a spell when you're writing, which you actually are.
I had another question. So Chislas, I sent the link. I don't know if it's, let's see if it's the right, because it may have been from the year before. Is there a place, if you
It'd
go to
be the
tickets?
same. It's the same
Should
code.
be the same?
So it's just a code.
Okay.
Do you remember your code? Was it B Lady or something like that? Do you remember?
No, I would say it's be lady. Oh, so it's Genesis, so it's a beginning again, and because it's a fire horse and it's a 1 year. We were in a 9 year, so that makes sense that it's Genesis. And I saw the roster. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome, and it is really my only public event. I don't go out in the masses anymore. But one question I wanted to ask you, so when you did your ceremony, and maybe in your meditations, have you ever played with the idea or tried this where you go to an incident and play it out differently and then see actual 3D changes? Does that make sense? I don't know if you could do that.
Yeah, Christoph was telling me to do that, to go back into those childhood experiences and actually relive them, but change what happens. And I did that, and that was a part of how I changed it all, actually. Yeah, so that's something major that people can do. There's so many things. People don't know any of this stuff, right? Like, you think about your average person. They go to the government indoctrination camps for 12 years. They go for the communist training for 4 years. They go into debt for life. Then they get their mortgage, which is called a death contract in French. And then they turn on the television programming, and it's propaganda and it's mind control. And then they go on their algorithms, and it's all propaganda, mind control. And then they're like, I don't feel good. I'm kind of depressed. And they're like, well, take these pills. It's like no one knows any of this stuff that we know about. It's incredible.
Right. And so to them, I may sound like a wackadoodle, but when someone, after the Kundalini, I had someone that I've known, a vendor, say to me, you sound like a crazy woman. I had to come up here to talk to you. And then after I was like, that's not her languaging. Who can't come up here? Demons can't come up here. So it really is, what is reality? That's why I'm saying consensus reality is breaking down, and what you focus on, that's why I think I spend a lot of time, I was told by my higher self that I'm anchoring in this frequency. And I've seen, when I dance, I'll see creepy crawly, like drunk men come, or I had this one girl come up to me. I love your choreography. Can you show it to me? And I know it sounds so bitchy of me, but I'm like, well, it's my soul. I don't think I can really teach you how to move. It's tapping in to your soul. The same woman said, because I started doing interpretive dance videos, because that's all they allow me to do, Jeff, on social media. So I started doing these interpretive, just that it's goofy and interpretive. I mean, I guess she's like, your dance videos are too sexual. It's not good for your brand. And I said, my brand? First of all, I'm about longevity. I'm about authenticity. I'm about being freedom. So then I went to dance at the farmer's market, and I closed my eyes when I dance. And when I opened my eyes 2 weeks in a row, there's like a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old. So in my head, I'm like, must be my sexual moves, kiddies. Must be my sexual moves. It's like, it's about, if you're the first one on the dance floor, you free someone up to be themselves, hopefully without booze. And it's just the same with you. You've inspired people to stick coffee up their booties. And I've had men come on Honey Colony and get a coffee enema. And there's no person that has started coffee enemas that has not really benefited and gotten more energy. Also, you don't need to do them as much because you're doing other things. But initially, as an alcoholic, you were cleaning up your liver and the anger. Anger is stored in the liver. I noticed after doing 5-MAO, and I wanted to ask you if it's the same, you had this like total rando, but not so rando memory. And I've seen since doing the ceremony, it was, a different medicine, that out of a sudden, like these random memories will come up. Like I keep getting shown the basement of my uncle, and I just see my cousin, I see the dartboard, I see everything, I could smell the room, but I still have no idea why I keep getting shown this. I'm like, was I like molested and I don't have a memory of it? What's going on? Why? I don't know if you've ever had persistent things come up. Have you?
Not too much that I could think of. Although up until the last few years, I was completely oblivious to any sort of that stuff, right? But the one thing I kind of know about those things, if it keeps coming up, then there's something there that needs to be resolved, right? And you don't know what it is. So you just have to keep looking for it. You could even ask Christoph, he'll know. It's great having Christoph as a friend.
Absolutely. Like I said, I was very resonated with his talk about the oversoul. It's on your stream if people want to check out Christoph's work, and I've had him on the show. We talked about the mimic, and it was around the time when ChatGPT, in the past couple of months, we've seen a rapid automation of things. And it's like, I guess in Mexico, you're lucky. But for me, what really F's with my frequency is like, okay, I'm going to spend 6 hours with Wells Fargo now. And it's become so unpleasant to deal with customer service. And I believe it's the weaponization of customer service. I also I've spoken about it, and maybe you haven't had this experience, but when a lot of the people that you call, like it's the females, their voices are all like, oh, gonna suck on some helium balloon. And their frequency is like, so there was one time I said to the person, because I think they're NPC. I don't think they're real. And I said, so were you sexually abused when you were young? What do you mean? And I said, well, a lot of times when you're sexually abused, your vocal cords get stunted. And she just hung up on me. Just saying.
You're funny.
So to do
poor customer support when they get you.
It's really, I don't think you have to deal with it in Mexico, but I think the boys and girls at home, I really have to talk myself. And also, maybe you would agree that I think there's more NPCs than we have realized post-jab, and that really they're there to take you off your game, to loose you, right? So to really stay in the center, like that example of you with the driver, it's awesome to reprogram yourself, and you're for your son not continuing this ancestral lineage. It's huge to do that, and to really do the work. So I guess now you won't do Ibogaine again. They're having it in Acapulco. Are they doing an Iboga ceremony?
Yeah, they're doing it the week after in Acapulco. I'm definitely not doing it that week for the main reason that I'm so it's like crazy. Like every single day from morning to night, I'm going in Acapulco. Christoph did offer me the opportunity to sit in as a helper, though, which you take a small amount of Iboga to do. And I actually am considering doing that. And I actually would consider doing Iboga again for sure. Now that I've got myself good and I know how to interact with the plant. Now Christoph says that the more I do it, the more I'll get like that Limitless in the movie, that I'll just get all these downloads and stuff. But that said, I just did it about, 2 months ago. I'm not quite ready yet, but maybe in a few months I might do it again.
Well, I would say you're still integrating, and I'm
definitely still integrating it.
That is a big portion, because people will go to like ayahuasca, like it's like, I'm going to go to the safari, and then they go back to their ways and they're not integrating crap, which is where the real growth to practice, the new ways or new behaviors. So
that's the cool thing about Iboga. I don't think you could walk away from it and go, oh, I'm just going to go and do it again tomorrow. There's no way. There's no way. And you would never do it going, oh, that's going to be fun, because it's not fun. It's like a hardcore, like mirror to your face for 48 hours and showing you stuff that you never wanted to look at, that you never wanted to deal with. So it's very, very different than ayahuasca. But we'll also be doing ayahuasca at Acapulco for anyone who wants to do that. We'll also be doing the 5-MeO DMT. Christoph's doing Iboga. We've got it all at Acapulco this year. Hopefully make it down. Make sure everyone, even $5 of Litecoin. If like 100, 200 people do that, Maryam is coming to Acapulco. Do you have a Monero address? Monero's been skyrocketing.
I do not, but I do know that if you don't share it, like with my reach now.
No, I'm going to be sharing it.
Okay.
So this is going to go out to quite a few people on BitChute. So
awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Why don't you get a Monero address? Like, make this like a point to do right after the show. Get you or Cheese Slice. Go make sure you get a Monero wallet and get an address. Send it to me, and I'll put it in the notes down below, because Monero is up like 300% in the last few months. So there's some Monero rich people out there who might go, I'll send her like $100. I'll send her $200. Yeah, I don't know if Coinbase has it, but just you can do it on your phone. Do you have a phone?
Is that something?
Get Cake Wallet. Cake Wallet. Just get Cake Wallet. You don't have to do it now. Just do it after the show and send me your Monero address.
Okay.
Because like there's a lot of Monero rich people out there right now, so they might throw you some money.
That's great. And if anyone wants a reading, a book, I'm all about, cross-pollinating and exchange. It is a little difficult working so hard and like not, being on some social I believe like I'm a social credit poster child for what's coming, because now it's the algorithms. You're in Mexico, so you don't know maybe Uber Eats, but if you go,
we've got it.
The algorithm will just say you're not like privy to a refund, or that's what's going to happen. I mean, that is what is happening. Have you done any predictions for 2026 that you can share with the audience?
I did some predictions for our Dollar Vigilante newsletter, which I shouldn't give out because people pay us for that, which people should subscribe to, dollarvigilante.com/subscribe.
Okay,
our top holdings are gold, silver, and Monero, and all three of them are at all-time highs right now. Also Bitcoin, we recommended Bitcoin at $3. It's actually insane if you've got a little bit of money and you want to invest, if you don't subscribe to our newsletter. But again, like you, Maryam, we're completely banned. No one knows about it. But it's the best newsletter on earth, financial newsletter by far.
Can we show the channel, Cheese Slice? Can we show the channel?
Yeah, it's just dollarvigilante.com.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, cool. Maryam, I'm sorry, but I have to run soon.
Where do people go? You have to go. Okay, sweetheart. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for I will send you the Monero, and I hope to see you at an Acapulco.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Let's manifest it right now. Let's do like a couple of seconds of energy. Let's envision you at an Acapulco. Okay, ready?
I'm there. I see it.
You're gonna be there. They're donating right now. Just $10, $5. Just send $5. Make someone's day. That's also how you get good karma, by the way. All right.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, like Maryam just did this show for you for 2 hours for free. You can give her a couple bucks.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Maryam. I'll see you next month because I know you're coming now.
Yes. Right. Yay. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hello, Acapulco. Aaron here. How's it going? I'm super excited to be coming to Acapulco next year in Puerto Vallarta, February 2026. I'm here in Orlando at the Joe Dispenza Advanced Retreat, and I'm really excited to be coming to Acapulco and leading you guys in meditation. We a lot of talk about having to do the work and doing the work, so let's apply it. Let's do it. And I'm excited to bring some techniques, lead some meditations, and also talk about probably the best opportunity I've seen in health and wealth, probably maybe in my lifetime and our lifetime. So look forward to sharing all this with you guys.
Freedom in the breeze, ocean's hymn, no chains, no pleas, no rulers, no kings, no scripts to recite, burn the old book, let the phoenix ignite, rebirth on the sand, where the rebels convene, a Genesis scene, mind sharp and keen, dollars to dust, trust in the soul, and Acapulco where we break the mold, and Acapulco where the spirit flies, new dawn, breaking under open skies, no masters, no limits, no chains to choke, this is freedom's fire, and Acapulco spoke. Acapulco where the spirit flies, new dawn, breaking under open skies, no masters, no limits, no chains to choke, this is freedom's fire, and Acapulco spoke. Beach bonfires start spark like flint, ideas ricochet, no permission, no stint, borders dissolve, minds expand, every soul sovereign, every mind grand, no contract signed, just a handshake truth, ancient wisdom reborn in the fountain of youth, rules crumble like castles at high tide, revolution lives where the dreamers reside, golden horizon, the birth of the free, echoes of laughter, the waves decree, freedom is anthem, a beat in the chest, and Acapulco where the restless rest.
With performing artist Aya May.
I don't need a muse or anything to do. Probably just get canceled cause I'm singing about the truth. Feels like we're getting wiser, don't choose. Since the lies that they blew up, now nobody trusts the news.
An Acapulco opening party on February 15th. An Acapulco Genesis, February 16th to 20th. The Dollar Vigilante TDV Summit, February 21st. The Crypto Vigilante TCV Summit, February 22nd. Agoraforco, retreats, and other excursions, February 21st to 27th. Bufo and other plant medicines with Bear Heart throughout the event. A special Iboga ceremony with Christoph Melchizedek from February 23rd. 2 Tesla plasma healing devices will be running throughout the event. Thanks to the Tesla Club. Bring the whole family. The Acapulco Family Camp runs throughout the event with activities for non-lethally injected, free-range, unschooled pure souls. Acapulco 2026. Genesis. Puerto Vallarta.